Hi, welcome to this episode of Icelandic for Foreigners. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the present continuous tense in Icelandic, or as I like to call it, the shortcut to the present tense. The reason I call it that is because it's much easier to use than the present tense, because you don't need to learn a whole bunch of conjugations to get started. Now, unfortunately, the meaning of the present continuous tense is a little more narrow than the present tense, which means you can't use it in all the same situations, but hopefully it'll get you started so that even if you're not using it completely right, you can at least start talking about what's happening now without having to learn all the conjugations. And as you learn all the conjugations, then you can move on to using both, because you really do need both to communicate fluently. So let's talk about how you do it. You make the present continuous by using this combination: subject plus vera að, and that vera is going to be conjugated for your subject, and then the infinitive of the verb, or the dictionary form of the verb. So here's an example. Ég að lesa. Jeg is our subject pronoun. Is the conjugated form of vera, and then að lesa is the infinitive form for to read. So ég að lesa. Now let's talk about what that means. The present continuous means that the subject is doing the action right now. Like in English, we say ing. We add ing to the end of the verb. So in order to say I am reading, which is what we would say in English for something that I'm doing right now, we would say ég að lesa. Or hvað ert þú að gera? What are you doing, with the ing. Hann að læra íslensku. He is learning Icelandic. All of these sentences have to do with what the subject is doing right now as we're talking. Now this is different from the Icelandic present tense. The present continuous, what we were just talking about, is for what the subject is doing right now, whereas the present tense is just something that the subject does regularly. So in these two examples, ég að borða pizzu, that's present continuous, and ég borða pizzu, which is present tense, the first one means I am eating pizza, whereas the second one means I eat pizza. That just means that generally pizza is something that I eat. And this is really why you need to learn both eventually, but the present continuous construction is much more straightforward than learning all the different conjugations for the Icelandic present tense. Now there are some exceptions where you can't use the present continuous, and the main rule is just for certain verbs, especially verbs that already indicate that it's happening right now. Liggja, to lie, as in to lie down. Sitja, to sit. Sofa, to sleep. Vera, to be. And heita, to be called. You can't use the present continuous construction. So in this sentence, kissan liggur í rúminu, the cat is lying on the bed. You can't say kissan að liggja. You have to use the present tense instead. Konan situr fyrir aftan mig, the woman is sitting behind me, or the woman sits behind me. You can't say konan að sitja. Hann fyndin, he is funny. You just have to use the present tense for að vera. You can't use hann að vera. Also for verbs that act as helping verbs. So these are, can, need, want to, know how to, have, should. These ones right here, you just have to use these in the present tense. So ég get ekki komið á morgun. I cannot come tomorrow. You just have to use the present tense. The last thing I'd like to talk about with that is for certain verbs or actions that happen in an instant. When you use this construction, it means that it's about to happen. Some examples of these verbs are detta, to fall, sopna, to fall asleep, and byrja, to begin. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to say he is falling right now as I'm speaking, because it just happens so fast. So when you do use this construction with these verbs, it means that it's about to happen. And they often throw in the word alveg. Lampin alveg að detta. The lamp is about to fall. Alveg, what it actually means is it's totally about to fall. But this is just how they often word it. Krakkarnir eru alveg að sopna. The children are about to fall asleep. And fundurinn alveg að byrja. The meeting is about to start. Now the last thing I'd like to talk about is the past tense with this construction, when you conjugate vera into the past tense. For example, hvað varst þú að gera? Varst is the past tense for að vera, and that would mean what were you doing? Whatever time you're talking about, this is what the subject was doing at the time. Ég var að lesa. I was reading. This is really great to use with the word þegar, which means when. You can talk about what was happening when something else happened. For example, ég var að borða þegar hann kom. I was eating when he came. And we transition into the past tense to talk about the event that interrupted it. That's all I had for this video. I hope you liked it. Feel free to leave comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bless, bless.